In this sixth week of ASM 246, we're going to be exploring one of the most interesting parts of our ancestry, the origins of our own genus, Homo, which, as you all know in Latin, means man or mankind. Today, every human being on the planet has a large brain skull, big brain, very reduced face, diminutive teeth, little jaw, which is specially designed with a little chin, protuberance here at the bottom of the lower jaw. We all belong to Homo sapiens. But one of the questions that's long intrigued anthropologists is, where did our genus originate? We know, for example, that the earliest evidence of our own genus is in Africa, another milestone in human evolution. Well, there's been a great deal of debate, there's been a great deal of hope about finding the earliest Homo, and while we know an enormous amount about Australopithecus, the diversity in the numbers of species, the diversity in anatomy and adaptations, the things that we've talked so much about this last week, we know very little about when our genus arose, which is kind of interesting. The earliest evidence that you will learn about this week is an upper jaw that we found at the site where Lucy was found, in the upper parts of the geological section at about 2.4 million years. That's the sole anatomical evidence for the earliest appearance of something that we would call Homo. There's been a great deal of debate about the origins of Homo because the time period when we arose, probably somewhere between 2.4 and 3 million years ago, is not very rich in fossils in Africa. The evidence is so sparse, and there are such divergent ideas about this, that there continues to be an enormous amount of debate. Of course, the European paleoanthropologists, as I may have said before, with their Eurocentric view, thought Europe was the finishing school for humanity. That's where Homo originated. They didn't like Neanderthals very much for our ancestors, but there were other things like what we know as Cro-Magnon man from France that was a more acceptable human ancestor. We'll learn about some of the dead ends, some of the species of Homo that died out, and some that lived as a separate species as recently as 12,000 years ago on the island of Flores in Indonesia, for example. So this is one of the critical steps, one of the critical landmarks in human evolution. We'll learn about one of the most remarkable scientific forgeries ever committed, the Piltdown Man, that was constructed in England because the English so very much wanted to be the first modern humans, to have them found in their country, to be able to say to the rest of the world that the first real human was an Englishman. The search for Homo has impacted a number of people's lives. And you'll learn about Louis Leakey, more about his dedication to the earliest remains of Homo. And today, while we know very little, we are catching glimpses of our origins of this genus Homo. And I predict that as we find geological deposits that contain fossils of early Homo, say between 2 and 3 million years ago, there will be a diversity, as there already is beginning to emerge in discoveries, a diversity of species within our own genus. As recently as, say, 40,000 years ago, there was Homo neanderthalensis, there was Homo sapiens, there was Homo floresiensis, there was Homo erectus. Yet today, We are the sole species of human on the planet, Homo sapiens. I think you're going to enjoy this week because it's really about us, about our genus, about Homo, and how we became separate from Australopithecus.